Good morning. So I'm doing here a review for Maui Jim's latest in the okipa line that's been around for generations now. These are the Ultra R. They just released these here probably about a month ago from what I'm seeing. I was just stumbling along and they appeared in my Instagram feed and in my Facebook reel feed where they're producing the ads. I was like, oh, those look interesting. I didn't know they made a round, like a frame version. The okipa to me in the past has always been a rimless, so this is a different fit and feel. I figured I'd give it a try. And so far, initial impressions, very pleased. So this is the matte black with the blue Hawaii, and we'll get into the details of the frames themselves and the lenses, lens technology, etc. So this is a sport frame. It's in the sport Maui Jim Sport frame line. Frame size is a large, so if you're used to wearing a large, then these should fit you. As far as the dimensions, it's 140 stem length, 62 on the lens width, and then 40 on the height with a 17-inch bridge, or 17, it's not 17 inch, that'd be massive, 17 millimeter bridge. So they're fairly narrow here compared to some of the others with a 19. And so we'll get like a side profile here. They come down. I really like the side profile. They come back just the right length here for me to where I want the contact points to be. So let's get into it. So like many of the okipas, they have the adjustable nose bridge here, which you can pull out. For me, I pull them out to get them a little bit off my eyelashes, as you know, I've talked about before. Very nice thin profile, has some flex, but not as much a flex as you might find in some of their other sport frames. The temple grips are the pass-through, similar to what you just saw with the Oakley, what are they called? The Neo jackets, for example. And they're how Maui Jim's been doing a lot of their temple grips. But these have the Maui Jim logo printed on them. And I've got my range of frames in front of me here that are of the same blue Hawaii frame. So you can kind of compare apples to apples. How does that blue look in hand versus, let me grab a polish cloth real quick. How does that blue look compared to, and the Ultra lens, comparatively to the Pure and the Brilliant, which I also have for my other frames. So let me pull up my list here. Let's see here. What else do we want to talk about with the frame specifically beforehand? So if you've tried the okipa in the past, here I have the XL in front of me. Now the classic XL is a less rigid frame if you look at it, and this is the okipa, I mean. This is the XL version, but the traditional is pretty much the same. It's got way more bend and flex to it. This frame on these reminds me more of what was on the Palulu, which I reviewed earlier last year. From when you're comparing them 1-to-1, it's almost the exact frame in terms of rigidity and composition. So if you put these on and these are stiffer than you want, then you may not end up liking the Ultra R as much because they are a stiffer. These are similar in design. The Palulu is to the Ultra R in terms of how the arms are, the temple grips, etc. The nose grip, they're all very common overall. So now again, so the Ultra, what makes them part of that Ultra family besides the just the overall new design is they're using Maui Jim's new Ultra lens, which is supposed to have greater contrast and clarity, etc. My initial observation though is by going to this Ultra lens, and I'll show you, the blue is not as I don't know if I want to say brilliant or robust, but the blue color is just not as vibrant on the lens. It's not bad, but it's not as vibrant. And I think that's due to the material composition. So these are the Ultra lens, and you still see a nice blue reflective mirror to them compared to the Palulu here. They run the Maui Brilliant as well as the Quapo Gap. They also run the Maui Brilliant. And so when you put them on, that blue is a lot more noticeable even in a lower light setting. So As far as fit and feel, these are a similar feel in terms of fit and design, but they're not as, these are base 6 to where these are a base 8. These are a higher wrap, comparing those two. So then we move to the Guapo Gap again, and it uses the Brilliant lens as well, and you see that that blue really comes out on them. And again, they're part of the Sport family. When I originally picked these up, what I really liked about them in the Sport family specifically is just how pliable this material is. It's really flexible. You're not going to break it. You can distort it if you like leave it in a bent position for a while and like the sun or heat or something like that, but it's very nimble for your face. So if you're looking for an aviator with a blue lens or red, they come in red. They've been phasing them out, so you might still be able to find some. I have a couple that I bought as backups once I found out they were phasing them out. But anyway, these are ultra light, nice and secure, but they feel like you're wearing nothing all day long. And they're part of the older MJ Sport line, if you will. And then you've got the Twins Falls here is my last, other than the XL, my last overall, and these use the Pure, Maui Pure lens. And so the Pure and the Brilliant are very similar in terms of how dark their blue is on the lens, and the clarity. I'll say that the looking out the window here at the snow and the outside with these on, these are a darker VLT. You could tell based off the mirror and the lens composition that both the Brilliant and the Pure just have a darker overall FOV for you. And that's, I think, where the Ultra brings in that higher contrast and clarity and and everything. And it's even almost a little, has like a hint of rose. I'm not gonna say it's a rose base because it's not, but it does have like a hint of a rose. I put these on, the outdoor environment I'm looking at is much brighter than what it would be if I had the others on. So that will be something I think you'll notice initially when you switch to the Ultra lenses compared to either the Pure or Brilliant in the same colorway that you might be used to. And let's go ahead and look at that from the camera's perspective. Okay, so you see how light or dark that can be. There I am, like I said, it gives almost a little bit of a rose when you're first coming to it. Not too much, but then, so that's the Pure or the Maui Ultra lens. Now let's look at how much darker the, this is the Guapo Gap, so the Brilliant, same lens, but gets a little bit darker, more of like a greenish gray. And then let's move to the, let's see, so that was Brilliant. That was the Brilliant lens. Now let's do the Pure, the Okipa Ultra or the Twins Falls. We'll try the Twins Falls first. So the Twin Falls here, let's look at that again. So you get like a grayish green, and it's not, to give you contrast again, let's put the Ultra lens back on. Has a little bit brighter view and more, I would say, natural or neutral. So it doesn't take away or really darken the environment, even though it provides you that UV protection and nice mirror. So yeah, I think that pretty much covers it. What I like about them, I like that it's a nice little touch. It gives them just like a little bit of an edge, how the stem comes over into the frame and just kind of keeps going. Gives it that little bit of an aggressive look right there at the edges. Again, like everything Maui Jim does, I really like the ability to adjust these nose pads that are integrated. And so that, if you're somebody like me who has high bridge or no, or low bridge, depending on, like the Asian fit seem to fit me better because I have a very narrow bridge of a nose. And so I like that adjustability they bake in comparatively. I bought these Okipa XL back when they first came out, and I think the Ultra now are probably my favorite fit. They're like right in between the sweet spot of like the large, extra large, and their original fit. Here's the XL for comparison. Now, the XL doesn't have the sealed off around, so you do see more of the light coming through than you do with all the others. So if that's something that's going to bother you, you might want to consider that. The view, though, with them, I would say is honestly very similar to the Ultra, even though it's not the Ultra lens. And that probably has something to do with the fact that you get more light transparency through the back. So, with that, you kind of can hopefully make an informed decision as to, which lens tier you want, which size and fit you want. These vary between the large and the extra large frames. The funny thing is, so these say large on the website, but if you look at the inner stem, it says extra large here on the print for the frame. If I can get it to focus up right here, it says XL. Let's see if I can get it to. There you go, see the XL. So even though they list them as a large online, the frame print says XL. So that's something I just noticed, didn't know that. I just got these yesterday to try out, so I'll be wearing them today. It's nice, bright and sunny in the 50s. Snow is starting to melt up here in upstate New York, so I'm gonna take them for a drive, see what I think walking around. The glare off the snow has been very nice with them so far. You don't see too much, it really knocks it down. And again, the fit in terms of pressure, these are 62 on each side, 17 in the center and 140 back. So they come back on my head at least just the right amount and stop where I want them to. Maybe a millimeter or two shorter would be okay. But otherwise, I'm very happy with where they come around and sit. The wrap is very nice, comes around. Like I said, I believe they're a base 8 if I looked at it correctly. Yeah, they're listed as a large, even though it comes up as an extra large. And then the sizing, they're base 8 compared to some of these others that are like a base 6. So I think that hit on everything. I know that was kind of a chaotic review. Apologize for not being as concise as usual. But yeah, I hadn't seen anything out there about these yet, so I wanted to, once I got them, to go ahead and throw an initial video out there so everybody could at least start gathering information, if this is a frame that suits you or not. Again, I like the styling of them a lot. They give you the benefits of the okipa, the weight, the color of the Ultra, lens, and that styling. But with the round frame, they have that, heritage type style that points to like your sport jacket type frames across the landscape. So yeah, they initially only come in green, gray, bronze, and blue, and that's all you can colorway wise do with them. I'm looking forward to being able to customize them beyond that in the future when we can hopefully get Maui green. The green lens is the high transmission lens, which has almost no mirror, but is supposed to be, a high contrast lens. Not really my thing. I like the high mirrors, so hopefully they'll introduce the Ultra in a red later in the year, or a customization option, as well as the rose and the Maui green, so that if that's what you're into, you have more options. So with that, now I think that's it. If you have any questions, well, leave me a comment, any feedback. Have a great weekend.